Hi, hello, we are back. Preparations for the third season of the Norwegian Newcomers podcast are finally in full swing. Some kind of announcement for our next season is today's special episode with the working title Reality Check. This is a special episode of the Norwegian Newcomers podcast because we live in a time of new war in Eastern Europe. For more than a month now, Ukraine has been under attack from Russia. Due to that terrible fact, I needed to contact someone from Ukraine who can directly describe the current situation. Therefore, our guest today is Elena, who lives in Kiev. Elena, thank you very much for being with us today. First, I will ask you to introduce yourself and tell us what the current situation is in your country and city.
Yes, welcome everybody. My name is Lena. I'm from Ukraine. I live in Kiev and I stayed in Kiev. And even that I have an opportunity to go somewhere, I've decided to stay here this time. I'm just a little upset because all world think that war started just months ago. It's not true. Originally, I'm from Donetsk. Donetsk is the east of Ukraine. Well, I think you heard that in 2014, war started over there the first, yes, when Russia occupied Crimea and they tried to occupy Donetsk, the Donbass region, yes, very rich, very beautiful, that was real European city, and unfortunately, well, now it's not the same. So 8 years ago, I moved to Kiev. I left my mother city because I didn't like what's going on over there, of course, because Russian propaganda says that we're going to save our people, Russian speaker people, they have some threats from people of Ukraine or some Nazis, what they like to say, but I'm Russian speaker. I was born in Donetsk. Donetsk is Russian speaker region. We have no any problem with this. Yes, of course, like every country, we have some people who looks like, they too much aggressive can be, but it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's not a big deal. It's not a point. It's not a problem like they try to show. So I left my city. My parents stayed there, but I also have a sister. My sister lives with her husband, my brother-in-law in Dnieper. Also, it's like Ukrainian controlled territory. So I moved here after so long time. I have been living here, and this time when everything started a month ago, I woke up in the morning. I didn't know that what's happened. Actually, I overslept, I just saw a lot of messages and calls on my phone, and people told me, Lena, there's explosions in Kiev, everywhere in Ukraine. But I didn't heard it. I didn't hear that. I was sleeping at this moment. I don't know, maybe I was so much frustrated. But for me, especially for me, war has been going for 8 years.
How old are you?
I'm 34. 34. So when everything started, I was 26. I was young. I was really successful. I worked for some government organization, and actually my boss prepared me to be a big manager of the center where I worked in Donetsk. But of course I left because I couldn't stay there. I moved to Kiev. I live here. So this time, of course, I was in shock. Of course, I didn't expect that active phase would come. But still, what I noticed is that, for example, for me, that was easier to get it, to take it, to take this problem.
How did you feel a month ago or a few months ago? What was the situation like then? Were you aware that the war would actually begin? Were you aware of that?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't believe. Because, let me repeat, I had been living in this work condition for 8 years. So for me, where I didn't expect this massive attack, on the whole Ukrainian territory. Of course, I didn't expect.
So can we say that?
And I wasn't
nobody
expected. Some people expected, of course. And I wasn't worried about, people ask me, Lena, what will happen? What do we have to do? People say, TV say, politics say, presidents say. I thought, I got it. the second time I will not.
Yeah.
I will not have it.
Been there, done that, yeah.
So when everything started at February 24, I was sick. I was laying on bed, but I knew that I have to work. So, and I couldn't buy any pharma because pharma stores, drug stores didn't work the first week, you know.
We all have different ideas about the appearance or functioning of the state in an emergency situation, in a war situation. I wanted to hear from Elena what the city of Kiev looks like and functions today, as well as what her day looks like in such circumstances. But Elena, can you try to describe us your day in the previous month, how your days are, or what you are doing from the moment you get up?
Well, actually, I'm a broadcaster. I work in some streaming platforms. I get donations, so I can't say that something changed for me. Yes, because I work from home. This chair is my office. Is my workplace. Yes, like my office. Yes, I sit here. I do broadcast. People come in. It's only entertaining. But before I could sing, I could do some show because I'm a crown designer. Also, actually, I'm preparing some Ukrainian crowns. So let me show you this flower crown. I'm preparing it for Victory Day, you know. But now I just can talk with my viewers. Yes, I can do any show. Of course, all my friends or my co-workers who we did a lot of funny shows before, they or left or they have no opportunity to do it at night because usually we did it in evening. Now I wake up. I'm checking news that everything is okay. I see that my relatives are okay. My family, yes, that my family is okay. After, if I need, I go shopping because like shopping, it's not like before. Before I could come to the next supermarket and got everything what I need. Now, no, unfortunately, now I have to check a lot of grocery stores to find everything what I need. Yes, so it takes time. It takes time. And the biggest problem for me, well, and I'm happy that this is the only one problem now because other people have bigger for sure. I liked to walk at evening with music around my district because I live in a really nice place here in Kiev, and this is big buildings around. Well, I love it. It's like jungles. It's like stone jungles. That's what I need. Your neighborhood. Yeah. Yes, and I like to walk around the district, and I can't do it at night because of curfew, because it's not safe. It's not safe to do that. I work, I can't look news all the time, so I can work, I do work. I don't take any help like what other people, for example, some grandmothers, fathers, like old people need. Yes, so I do not take. I work. I try to earn money, even that it's really complicated right now because you have no mood to do entertaining. Also people like always ask, "What about Ukraine? What about Ukraine?" Yes, so but still I try to work and I pay for everything because economics should work and they will pay taxes. Maybe they will buy something on this money for our army, for our boys who defend us. Elena, I would like to also to inform us what is the situation in Kiev now when it comes to the infrastructure. You mentioned at the very beginning, the first week of war, that some pharmacies were closed, but is it how it is now? Do you have enough food, electricity, water, all that basic necessities? What's the situation? Well, my district is okay. Kiev is really big, yes. So my district is okay. About electricity, power, I heard some news that on the right side have no electricity because of some destroyed. But what about food? Are the stores running normal or pharmacies? Of course, not like before. Some pharmacies work, not all, but really, I'm telling you, about first 2 weeks, pharmacies didn't work. And I was in shock. We asked our mayor, and mayor asked them that, guys, you have to open its pharma stores, just only government pharma stores work, but private didn't. But in my district, I have no this government pharma drugstore, So, but now, yeah. now, yes, they work. Grocery stores work. For a couple of weeks, we hadn't any meat. We have problems with product, but it's not like we're hungry now. So we can buy something. So they started to bring eggs, milk, bread, because yes, first few days, like people took everything what they had, and that was a problem first few days.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Kiev. Yes, but I have friends different and relatives in different regions. I also have friends and siblings next to Mykolaiv and Kherson. My relatives now, they are in village next, just between, like, it's not between, like road to Mykolaiv and Kherson, and they stay in this village, and they have no electricity, they have no water, they take rainwater and they drink this water. So this is big problem. Yes, for example, next small city, another small city next Kherson, there are Russian soldiers over there. They could come to houses, take something, but it's almost okay as we can say in this condition. And yes, they have some problem with products because it's very expensive.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you are noticing those past months, are the prices changing of the products, of the basic products, or government or trying to keep them in the same? Because I remember during the war in ex-Yugoslavia, many things in those war zones that just became, insanely expensive because of the situation and problem with supplying. Is that happening or already happening or could happen?
Yes, it's happened. For example, eggs costs in 2 times more expensive. But for the bread is almost the same. Sweets, when everything is not so cool around, you want to eat some sweets.
Yeah,
and
you need
it's
some
really
comfort.
Expensive. Yeah, so actually, what's interesting? I got weight. I gained weight, extra weight after this work, because first few days I couldn't eat at all. I couldn't eat because of this. And after I came to the store and I saw there is no food what I usually eat. And what do you do when you don't see food? You have you have fear that you will be hungry. So you take everything what you can make you feel not hungry.
Yeah,
so, and unfortunately I stuck and I got weight, but the first time in my entire life, it doesn't bother me so much as before. I can't say that I'm in peace all the time. No, of course I'm worried. Of course I'm scared. I live on 14th floor, and sometimes I see some air defeat system. I see some rockets. I hear explosions. Sometimes it's not comparable with Kharkov or, oh my God, Mariupol. My heart is broken. It's broken for Mariupol. But still, of course, I'm scary. I feel this adrenaline, yes. So it's like, oh my God. But after I can handle myself and I'm going on.
Do you have any family in Kiev?
No, I live alone. Part of my family still live in Donetsk. And my sister and brother-in-law live in Dnieper. Dnieper is central Ukraine. It's like 4 posts of Ukraine now. Almost everything is okay over there. They had few rocket hits, but still, for sure, comparable with Kharkov, it's pretty quiet in Dnieper, and it's pretty quiet. Comparable with Kiev. Kiev is a big city. Yes, of course, it's a capital. So we have 2 parts of city, right and left. I live on left part of city, and when people ask me in my broadcast, like, are you safe? I say I'm safe, comparable with another part of city, where is Irpin, Bucha. I think you heard, yes, the names of those cities. It's like small, beautiful new cities. Oh my God, they destroyed totally. I'm in shock. But of course, the biggest problem for all Ukraine, for all, even for the most safest place, it's aviation and missiles. This is the biggest problem for us. That's what we are afraid the most. Because I sleep in my bathroom on the floor. About a week ago, that was really dangerous missile on some shopping mall in Kiev. I heard this explosion, of course, and government ask us all the time, do not post. If you see that something is destroyed after missile, don't post it. Don't post it anywhere, at least for 24 hours, because enemy sees this post and they can correct their shell, their shoot, and unfortunately after that missile, that was the second one, the same time when savers came to help people who were there, because someone posted this video and enemy corrected their shoot and they shot their.
It just shows how those free media or internet today in some way can help a lot spreading the word, the right information, but in the other hand can cause the damage.
But now it's like we call it's active phase, I live in this circumstances, in this condition for second time in my entire life. Well, I think I'm too young for this.
I decided not to talk with Elena about the current situation in Donetsk because it's about the safety of her parents and relatives.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about the Donetsk too much because I still have friends and part of my family there, so it's not safe for them.
So it's not
if
safe.
You don't mind.
Yeah. And when we are saying that it's not safe, can you tell us to explain saying that it's not safe? Does it mean that basically life-threatening situation still?
Yes. In Donetsk is. Let's talk about it next time. I'm going to check what's going on, and I have to know what I can say because I still have people and I'm worried about them, so I want they to be safe over there.
Yeah, of course, totally understand. It is important for you to know that there is still a fear of talking about the situation there, even though 8 years have passed. And Elena, just since that a month into the war, more than 3.7 million Ukrainians have fled to other countries, and nearly 2,000 refugees from Ukraine have reached Norway until now. Do you think that you will have to leave your home?
Well, like I told before, this time I have decided I want to stay here right now this time. So it's like when you're a victim and you're running away from your aggressor, yes, you have to change the case. Some moment you have to stop, turn around, and run after him. So now I've decided to do it. Of course, I'm afraid. Yes, like I told you, I sleep in my bathroom on the floor because I'm afraid of rockets. But I understand that now. I don't know why. It's just my feeling. I want to be here.
You want to stay?
Of course, if I have been living in Mariupol, of course I'd laugh.
Yeah, those people that they couldn't have any other choices. I searched a bit and read that when it comes to the Norway and the region government, they are ready or preparing themselves to be capable to host around 100,000 people from Ukraine. As I told you, until now it's around 2,000 that reached Norway, but it seems those information that everyone expecting more and more refugees from Ukraine to come. We listen to politicians, political experts, the media about the situation in Ukraine. I wanted to hear Elena's opinion regarding the reasons for the Russian invasion of her country, the consequences, the political background and possible solutions, as well as what the Ukraine needs most at the moment. Can you tell us what were the first decisions of the Ukraine government? So at the very beginning of the Russian invasion, the decisions of the government and the way that you got the news, or how does the government communicate with the public in Ukraine?
Every day, you can find an Instagram account of our president, Vladimir Zelensky. He posts some briefings, some interviews every day. There are a lot of speakers from the office of our president. They also give a lot of interviews, and they have their own channels on YouTube. And by the way, they also talk with foreigner journalists. So they also have a lot of feedback for our foreigner partners, So
You are satisfied the way your government communicating with the public, with you, that you are informed well, and that you can kind of have the information in advance, that you can stay safe to know what to do in a particular situation.
I'm satisfied, but of course I'm experienced person. I know that sometimes, of course, they try to make us believe in the best. So I don't know how to translate it in English, but in Russian we usually say believe in the best, but be ready for the worst.
Elena, what do you think about those media that it runs, and information that runs and that are delivered to the Russian people? Do you think that they have a right information what's actually happening?
You talking about Russia TV?
Yeah, or Russian media. Do you think that Russian people are actually aware of the real situation in Ukraine and the invasion that Russia is doing on Ukraine?
My best friend lives in Russia, in St. Petersburg right now. She's originally from Russia, and she was one of the first who called me those days. So she understands that in Russia it's only big, huge propaganda. Yes, she understands it. But for example, her family doesn't. So my friend and her family doesn't believe that it's propaganda, and people around her, a lot of people around her, but not all people, well, thanks God, but a lot of people around her thinks that all people in Ukraine do some shoots in Photoshop, that all these videos, it's video editors, that it's not true, or in the same time they say that we shoot to ourselves, they prefer to say that Ukrainian army shells our own territory. Well, what we found now, yes, I'm listening to a lot of these experts, and what we see that politics is not my topic, but I think I have to say it's just my opinion.
Of course,
but it's kind of religion. It's kind of religion what they have. Yes, they have a big enemy. It's West. Yes, it's European Union, Ukraine, United States, NATO. They see it, yes, that, for example, they're a big enemy and we have to defeat ourselves, and we have to defeat because it's really dangerous, so we have to attack on Ukraine first. So what's the point? What's the point? We don't understand, but somehow they do. And I have TikTok account. I do broadcast on this entertaining streaming platform, so of course I communicate with people. So many Russian people tells me some crazy things, so it's insane what they say.
They're just telling you the things that they are hearing from their media, yeah?
Yes, they unfortunately they are watching their media and they believe everything what they say over there.
Elena, since you have the best friend from St. Petersburg, is it possible that will change? Or you think that those strong media indoctrination, that it's too strong and that there's no way to change that?
Did Germany change their opinion about Hitler?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point, but there are big difference between Russia and Germany. Germany always had the goal to live good, but Russian people mostly want to other people do not live better than they do. Unfortunately, not all. I want to separate Russian government from Russian people who understands that Russia is an aggressor right now, and I want to separate this kind of people who believe and they can't see, they don't see that they do big mistake right now.
Yeah, that no one wants to. It's about your territory now, or your sovereignty is wounded right now. But I want to believe, because we all saw that some people protested in Russia, in many towns in Russia, they protested and they show kind of braveness, and because it's again life-threatening or prison-threatening situation there for anyone who wants to protest or to show that it's against the war that Russia started. But I'm wondering how, because I find some kind of similarity or parallel with the ex-Yugoslavia, the war in ex-Yugoslavia that it happened. And when I lived in Serbia and we were under embargo or sanctions, But I know from my own experience that embargo actually hit us who were fighting against the regime in that time, Milosevic regime, who were that we were kind of cutted by the support that we needed to actually deal with our own regime. So I'm just thinking louder now. I'm thinking with you. I'm not sure. Again, through experience I had in ex-Yugoslav war in 90s, is it the right way to put sanctions that are actually will hit the how to say normal people, not the government, not the politicians, but the normal people among them, when we know that among them there are a lot of people who are against their own regime and politics that Russia is running. So I'm wondering how that things can change if we put all of them in the same basket, how to say, because we saw and we know that there are people who actually are fully against the Russians' politics and the war that Russia started.
First of all, my friend who supports us, she totally understands what's going on in Russia. So she didn't complain me even once about that they have closed McDonald's, that she can't buy Coca-Cola, or they have this female hygienic, I don't know how to say it in English, for periods. Yes, so she didn't complain me even once. So she understands what price they pay. Yes. But excuse me, for me, my country is under the fire right now. So they have Constitution of Russian Federation. Yes, there is a point that all power in this country belongs to the people. The people. So they grown up this tyrann, this killer, and excuse me, terrorist, because he's terrorist for me. What he's doing now with Mariupol. And this awful, disgusting lie, what they provide, really. So yes, excuse me, but they are responsible for that. But people who supports us, not all people are coming outside on this protest for us. Some people who say not war, they just go there for themselves, for example, for their military relatives, yes, the brothers, husbands. I didn't want to see it, but really huge part of Russian people thinks that it's okay. So I will not be polite, I will not be tolerant, but unfortunately, yes, sanctions also should be on some, like you said, normal people who thinks that killing and murder is okay, and who thinks that all people of Ukraine do some fake pictures or videos on Photoshop. So, and they believe on this propaganda. So this is what the difference between German people of Germany and people of Russia, because people of Germany were pretty much smart. Of course, there was some percent who didn't believe, yes, like about this old ladies, the story about this old ladies in Fascist Germany. They showed them all this Oswiecim, Buchenwald and everything, yes, and they told them that it's your Hollywood mannequins, it's a Hollywood decoration. They didn't believe. They saw it in real life, and they didn't believe. No, I'm not sorry. Excuse me, I'm not sorry for this people.
But Elena, tell me, in your opinion, what kind of help does your country need most now? What do you think is the most needed for Ukraine now? What kind of help?
It's weapon. Because what Europe, excuse me, I don't want to offend no one, but what Europe doesn't understand, that they will not stop here. Yes, because Russia have already threatened European country, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. They have already threatened them. So, yes, I can say, of course, it's going to be a mistake if I would say that Russia or Europe doesn't support us. Of course, Europe helps with refugees, with weapons. But first of all, it's not enough. The second one, the speed of this help is really slow. And excuse me, if we're talking, for example, about Red Cross organization, do you know what Red Cross decided to do? They came to Russia and they got decision with Russian government to create some camp in Rostov-na-Donu in Russia territory for refugees of Ukraine. Really? Red Cross. Well, I think it's not normal. And what Red Cross shows now that they just legalize Russian actions. So Red Cross, excuse me, no. Yes, NATO, excuse me, NATO doesn't support us for sure. We have support from some countries what also have a membership in NATO. But NATO gave us just some gasoline, that's all. And now, well, I don't know how, like our president said, I don't know how many people, how many children in Ukraine should die before they understand that Russia will not stop here in Ukraine. They will not stop here.
But you think that the only way to help and to stop the war in Ukraine right now is help in weapons to defend?
Do sanction work? No.
Or it can work, I'm afraid, on a long run, not on a short run.
Let me be honest. I am from Donetsk. 8 years ago, there was sanctions against Crimea and because of Crimea annexation and Donbass. And almost all companies came back to the Russian market. So yes, it's long term, but they will come back. Coke will come back. McDonald's will come back. I'm telling you. Here, that's why we ask weapon and yes, that's why we need it.
It's good that each neighbor countries or all countries in Europe that they can help and to be ready to help. Yeah, that's it. Just that's also the reason why I couldn't, kind of pretending that okay, everything is as usual, and I'm preparing the third season of the podcast as nothing happening around. So I really needed to talk with you and to make connection, because as we agreed that it won't be only once talking and hearing from you the news from the Kiev and Ukraine, but I hope that you and me I know that we will continue communicating, and I really want to use the channel that I have, which is podcast in this case, that to spread the word, just to make people maybe a bit more aware of what's happening quite close to all of us. It's in Europe.
Yes, and we if we lost, he will come further.
Yeah, that's why I really appreciate that you have time to talk a little bit with us, because to be honest, I think that still not so many people is aware actually how dangerous situation is, not only right now, it's in Ukraine, but on a higher level.
Because it's not next to them. Yes.
Yeah, and that it could escalate more and worse than it is right now. And right now it's already terrifying. But as I said, I think maybe not so many people are still fully aware what's happening. Now you have opportunity to give some kind of conclusion of this conversation. What would be your message for the end of this conversation?
First of all, I want to say to Europe that if you see some refugee who acts weird or aggressive, don't judge him, because he left everything. He lost everything. So if he complains about not too much taste food, it's not because he is so no, because he can't control anything, and food is maybe the only one what he can control now. But if it's not the same what he wants, yes, he can be pissed off. So don't judge them.
Yeah, we need to understand. It's really the situation. One day you have normal life and tomorrow you don't have anything.
Unfortunately, people who have never been in this condition, I see in TikTok, in YouTube, they judge. They just don't understand. The reason is not about that it's not tasty food.
Yeah, and it's really nice that you pointed out that. I'll try to also to talk with the refugees from Ukraine that fled recently in Norway. Main topic of this podcast is about newcomers, either refugees or economical. It doesn't matter the motive why people came here, but just to say at least how they feel, and to try to explain to other people how they feel, and to have more understandings and feelings for someone else situation right now. Okay, Elena, I really appreciate your time. I always, like to hear direct from the spot what's happening. Of course, I'm following the news and everything, but this is, for me, the most worth it to hear from someone who's actually in a war situation right now. So I find your words and your thoughts quite important. I talked with Elena a week ago. Meanwhile, a terrible war crime took place in Bucha, town 37 kilometers northwest of the capital, Kiev. The mayor in Bucha said 300 residents had been killed by Russian forces. President Zelensky claims civilians were tortured, killed, and left on the street. The whole world saw videos from Bucha. Elena, can you tell me your opinion and your feelings about happenings in Bucha?
First, of course, we thought that something like this would be happened. But when we saw evidences, when we saw news, when we found some pictures, actually we're in shock now. Our country in shock because it's not somewhere, it's here next to us.
It's actually 37 kilometers from Kiev.
From Kiev, yes. I have this, guys, I have this emotional wave. So some moment I can be frustrated, some moment I can feel energetic and I'm ready to fight. Some moment I hate everything, everyone from my enemies. And some moment I just feel nothing, yes. So of course we're in shock. We expected something like this, but we didn't expect that it's gonna be so huge in numbers, that it can be so unkind and cruel. And we even don't know in Russian or Ukrainian how to say it, what word we can use for this, And the most biggest thing, what scares us, it's that we don't know what's happened in Mariupol. We still haven't seen what's happened in Borodyanka. We haven't seen what's happened in Chernihiv. So we understand that it could be worse. But actually we thought that worse couldn't be. But now we see that a lot of surprises, Russian surprises, are waiting for our reaction, and for our feelings and for our lives.
And what is terrifying, we are talking about civilians.
We're talking about civilians.
And people who didn't put defending, or it was just killing of civilians.
Yes, women and children. It's not only like murders of people who saw something what they did. Yes, they raped women, they violated women, and they killed them after. That's all. Because I think that all the world need some weak country. They want to see Ukraine as a very, very weak country. No one needs to help us, but I'm telling you guys, you'll be the next. Just Poland and some Baltic countries understand that because they are close to us. So they really understand they will be the next because they ex-members of Soviet Union. And this is Putin's dream, yes, to join everyone.
And just we must react on the crime that's happening there.
I heard that some countries have already reacted, so thank them for this. I hope we'll get some help or some sanctions, yes, new sanctions for Russia. But and also what is really pissing me off, that people of Russia support. That's what you asked me, yes, 80 days ago. You asked me, do you separate Russian government and Russian people? No, because I see TikTok, I see Instagram, I see other social media, and I see that people support. And these people of Russia, usual people, civilians, they say that we should be destroyed. We should be killed. And some bloggers in TikTok really laugh about raping women, and they can say, I know, I can send you these pictures, these videos when they say, oh my God, you Ukrainian women, you're pigs, you have no any sexuality, no one will want you, so no one would rape you. Yes, and these bloggers say this, and TikTok, for example, doesn't ban them. But they ban all Ukrainian people when they try to tell the world what's going on here. So I just try to understand why this information should be closed. Thanks God the world reacted on Bucha news.
Do we need to wait for that massacre and crime to happen to react, or do you think?
Yes,
anything can be done to prevent those crimes to happen?
It's not the end. It's not the end. We haven't seen what's happened in another cities. We are not in Mariupol right now. We have no idea what's going on there. And I'm pretty sure, and everyone's pretty sure, that there is worse. Because Mariupol is bigger city than Bucha. And it's only one. But we are not talking about small villages on the east of Ukraine. We don't talk about some villages next to Chernihiv, to Kharkov. We don't talk about Izum, what's happened over there. And well, tell me please, if Russian bloggers can say this, they can describe all these things like in their jokes, why we should have some doubts that Russian soldiers could do something like this? Oh, sorry, they are not soldiers. They are felonists and terrorists. Well, excuse me for my emotions, but this is what I feel today. Because 8 days ago when we talked, I was optimistic. I have some good feelings now, yes, for the future. But now we're on the bottom in our emotional condition.
Yeah, and that's understandable. What do you think in the nearest future? Information that you are receiving from your government, from your family, friends, what do you think, for how long this gonna last?
So the biggest fight is coming on the east of Ukraine, near to Donbass. Yes, near to, like, they call it DNR, LNR. So Russian militaries left Kiev, left Chernihiv. They were leaving Sumy yesterday, but they are going to Donbass. And the biggest fight, like experts say, it's not my opinion, like the biggest fight is gonna be there on the east of Ukraine.
Do they have any prediction and experts that when they're expecting that will happen?
They are talking about it for a few days, you know? They has been talking about it for a few days, but it should be yesterday, today, tomorrow. But also they have some doubts about Russian army condition, because Russian army have big loss of people, of technique, of machines, tanks, everything. Our government suggests that Russia has some problems with army now.
Yeah, let's hope, because that's the tricky thing, because this was also what happened in Bucha, was kind of that they were leaving the place that they occupied. Then those crimes happen on their way to leave the area.
But the Ukrainian warriors are so much angry about everything what's happened. So they are ready to meet our enemies. And
the truth is that only your people are actually fighting against, and that you are on your own. Okay, Elena, thank you, and thank you for staying in touch with us. You are our Kiev source from the spot to hear what's actually happening. So thank you very much for being with us. Thank you so much for invitation, and if you need any information, you also can connect with me again. So thank you, Elena, and stay safe. Yes, thank you. We are with you. It was not easy to have this conversation and record this episode. Elena is a wonderful person and a brave woman who shared with us her feelings, fears, anger, insecurity, but also hope, determination and strength. I'm very grateful to her for wanting to share with you and me what is happening in her current life and what is happening in Ukraine. Although we all know that war is happening in Ukraine. You listened to the first episode of the third season of the Norwegian Newcomers podcast. My name is Vedrana Tanovic. Thank you for listening and take care. We are back next Tuesday.